Hello everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another one of our weekly My Dress Up Darling discussion videos. Today we're talking about episode 5, and I am by myself as the wonderful, the Startacular Stella Luna is unfortunately not feeling good, so she is not here today. Just me on my own.
No, you're not.
Stella, what are you doing here? Yeah, that's about what I thought.
I'm okay. I swear.
Okay, don't make Stella laugh. Noted. Okay. So
Stop. No.
Stella's here. She wanted to be here. So here she is. She made it.
Don't mind me.
The
I
wonderful
am sucking
partner.
on a cough drop like CPR. No.
But she's here because again, this is like probably I think our favorite show of the season. So like.
Yeah.
It felt
I think
right.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did tell her before anybody gets mad. I did tell her she should rest, but also they hit the light goal.
Resting.
They hit the light goal last week. So here is your gold star, and I believe I didn't give them a gold star from the week before. So here's 2 gold stars for you. There you go.
Woo!
2 gold stars. I'm gonna give you another challenge. I'm gonna say another 200 likes. 200 likes to get the next gold star. After that,
yeah.
after next week, I promise I'll go down to 150 again. But like, I just want to see if they can do it again. So 200 likes and you get your next gold star. But with that said, let's go ahead and jump into this week's episode, shall we?
So good. Again, always good. Always good.
It is. I was very, very happy this week. This week was essentially like, so we got the cosplay part of it done, right? We got like the making the outfit aspect of cosplay out of the way, right? Like that is done. But there's actually a lot more to cosplay than I remembered.
I remembered so clearly. I was just like, man, it feels like I'm back at war. Like I sat there, had like war flashbacks, man. Like I mean I haven't been to a con in like 2 years. Oh man.
That's funny. Well, because like I did notice that like when she first sees herself, right, in the cosplay, which we did see last week.
Yep.
When she first sees herself, she's like admiring, right? And the show is very intent that you admire her too. Goddamn, like a lot of opie shots this week.
Lots of opie.
Lots of
opie
opie this week.
Expected because like this character's got like the opie just hanging there. So to be expected.
Marin wearing like a double push-up bra or something. I don't super remember what it was. But yeah, that was funny.
It's funny because throughout the episode, before she even mentioned that, right? I was like, her boobs just look so much bigger. And I'm like, is she wearing something? Like, is she wearing a bra? Is she wearing like one of those like fake chests? Like I was like, there's something different about her boobs. And not because it's just anime. Just because it's anime. It has to be cosplay related. And Lord and behold, she was wearing a very extra push-up bra.
Which was hilarious. Like, I was like, that is so funny.
Oh, like, the way you do that without actually purchasing anything is you buy, like, 2 bras. You buy, like, one that's gonna, like, your normal, and then you buy one that's, like, a little bit bigger. And then you take some socks, and you put them underneath, too. And then you can, like, really emphasize them and make them much bigger. I've done it multiple times.
They were fake?
Of course they were fake.
That's all I thought of. Like when she tells Gojo, like, yeah, I used like a double push-up thing or like a double whatever bra, right? Yeah. And Gojo even says like the power of that bra is too much, right? It's like that's too much power.
It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah, it was funny, but like it's interesting, right? Because it's another element of the whole thing that I wasn't prepped for was like her like sort of admiring herself, but also like. The posing was a thing that I wasn't prepped for. Like the fact that like when they're taking pictures, like the first picture you see of Marin this week is her like doing like the peace sign, right? Where it's her like looking like Marin when she's supposed to look like Shizuku, and she like does not look like it. And Gojo he makes like a face that is like disappointed because like it doesn't really look like her. And we had said
really
that like
it wasn't because of the cosplay. It was because she just was posing like herself.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I was like, I didn't even think about that. And you're like, no, yeah, that's important too. Like,
it's like, well, yeah, your facial expressions, the way you carry yourself, like your posing. Like that's one of the things that like people don't really think about is that cosplayers do a lot of fucking research on their characters that they want to portray.
Yeah.
Right? Like I've cosplayed multiple characters. I've cosplayed like Sailor Moon, and I've cosplayed like Yang from Ruby. Right? Those are two completely different characters, and the way I pose for them are going to be two completely different ways.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? There's a lot more. It's like almost like a level of acting that goes into cosplaying, which I think is really interesting. It's stuff that, like, again, like I just wouldn't have really thought of. And I appreciate that it's actually in the episode that they actually go into it and like show you that it's like, yeah, there's a lot more to it than that. Also, a lot of con safety this week as well.
Yeah. You know what? Okay, before we get into the con safety, but I just wanted to point out, since we're talking about the cosplay stuff. Okay, I didn't mention this last week. I didn't mention it last week because I forgot. But the moment that Modern was like, I'm shaving off my eyebrows, and I'm like, like she had no second thought about it. She just was like, yep, there they go. Goodbye. Literally me. I have dark eyebrows, right? So me trying to make them the color of cosplays that like of like match wigs that are like lighter or different colors is very difficult. So I just shave those puppies off. Now I don't go full like shaving completely off. I leave little nubs, like, Starfire looking ass, like nubs,
That's funny.
But like a lot of cosplayers do like just shave off their eyebrows because it's just easier to draw them back on than to sit there and like do you put like down the Elmer's glue, like stick glue, and you gotta like keep doing that, packing that down, and then concealer, and then like it's just much easier to do it, like shave them off. They'll grow back.
That's funny.
Yeah. The con, going to it wasn't really a con, it was just like a cosplay
event.
Yeah. The one thing I was like really expecting this week was somebody to be really creepy to Marin. And I feel like it might not happen this week, but I feel like it's going to happen in some later episode.
Yeah. I was really glad that like the first cosplay photographer who she saw was like a nice guy, right? Because like he stumbles up, he's like, "Hi, how's it going?" And like she's so comfy with him that she ends up like taking a picture with him. Like, and I don't mean like, like him like snapping pictures of her. Like they actually take a selfie together, which I was like, that's so sweet. Like I was like, that's sweet. But both of us were like, oh, good, okay, so that wasn't weird. And then she gets several other people taking pictures of her, and none of them are weird, right? And she even gets like a girl at the end, right? Like the female photographer who like she accidentally runs away from at one point. But like like all of them are really sweet, and I was thankful that didn't happen. Right, that there was nobody who was weird to her, because unfortunately that is like a thing.
It's very common.
Yeah.
It's very common. Especially like when you're at like, depending on the event, like it can be super common. Like I've seen it happen at Anime Expo. One time I was cosplaying, and there is this dude who was behind this group of cosplayers. I don't even remember what they were cosplaying. I think they were cosplaying from Fate, if I remember correctly. And like this dude was behind them taking photos of their asses.
Yeah.
Like I kid you not, like he was right behind them. They had no idea. Right? And I actually called him out. I was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Right?
Yeah.
And like they turned around and they're like, what are you? And like we were all like yelling at him, right? Because it's like, yo, it's not cool to just like take a photo of somebody, especially if somebody's ass, right? And I've even had it fucking happen to me too, like at Anime Expo. Like it happens there all the time. So it depends on the event. Like the bigger the event, the more likely you are going to have somebody be super creepy to you, like at least so like far out there. There's going to be creeps at any con you go to. But like I find that at the bigger conventions, it's easier for them to hide amongst everybody because there's so many people versus like a smaller con. So I was really surprised to not really see any of that this week, but I do feel like it's going to happen.
Well, the thing that we had assumed was going to happen, I think might actually be in a later episode, where we were saying that it was surprising that like nobody was weird to her, because that would have been the perfect segue to introduce one of the other two girls that we know are going to be in the show. Right?
Yeah.
Because they're in the opening, the other two cosplayers. So that would have been a good place to have them show up, is like one of them notices that Marin's getting harassed, so like they show up. Well, even the fact that Gojo steps away.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's, I remember like you had your guard up immediately when Gojo walked away. because it was
Yeah.
like, don't walk away from her, right? Like, don't leave her, right?
Yeah,
Like,
because it might be like, oh yeah, like let me give him space and stuff like that. You never just go off with a photographer. You're by yourself.
no,
Ever.
like
Ever.
I have like my one experience with cosplay is because I in the past I had dated a cosplayer, and what would happen is usually like when we were walking somewhere, someone would stop and ask for her picture, and so I would take her stuff, right, and I would just kind of stand there, right, like so essentially we called that role bag bitch, right. So Gojo was basically the bag bitch this week, and I was like, that's relatable, right? Like I remember being that, and that I remembered like how I would sort of step back, but not all the way back. I was still nearby.
Yeah.
Right? Like so I was still like within hearing distance. Like I could still hear what was going on, right? I was still within earshot. Which is what I that's why I was sort of like, oh, maybe something is gonna happen because Gojo's not around. But like,
yeah, well, Gojo's was pretty far back too.
Yeah, he was like really far away.
He was really far away.
Well, she thought he left. Like,
yeah, I mean, he was so far away. She thought he left.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, well, first of all, no, he did not leave. But second of all, like, you know, again, like that's a concerning distance, and that might happen again later on when he does the same thing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't, especially when they first cosplay or like they're like the bag bitch, they would never think of somebody being just like creepy, like walking up and just being hella creepy to somebody. You know, I've had times where people have just been creepy to me for no reason.
Yeah. No. Well, and on top of that too, she's cosplaying from an eroge as well.
Exactly.
Right. So, like,
right? Which is not saying like this isn't
not consent.
Like,
yeah. Like,
no, it's not consent, right? And like a lot of people think like for some reason there's like a lot of like people who will think, oh, they're cosplaying this certain sexy character, which means it's okay to be sexy, like, or to be like to her essentially her like sexually harass them, right? But it doesn't mean it's consent. Like that, when we say cosplay is not consent, like that's what that means, right? It's like
you can't just walk up to them and say something like that.
Yeah, you can't, and you can't even just walk up to them and like, you know, like if some dude was to walk up to her and grab the chain around her like neck and the collar, like his like slave or something like that, because like we all know she has that chain, and she talks
probably
about
for there's a reason. Yeah.
There's a reason.
Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, but that's the character. That's not her, right? Like, so that's why,
exactly.
Yeah, there is no consent there.
There's no consent there.
Yeah, like I think that it was nice that to ease into it, right? That the first experience is like a good one, right?
Yeah, and not traumatic.
Yeah, I really appreciated that. I mean, it does get traumatic, because both of them almost die of heat stroke.
That is true. That is true. Like, you know, you even mentioned. You saw a Gojo just sweating and like, oh, I'm surprised she's not sweating. And I remember I went like, oh no, she's definitely sweating.
Oh yeah.
She's definitely, no, there's no way she's not sweating.
Well, because I remember like I was
he was sick.
I was only ever in cosplay like a few times, right? And keep in mind, when I say I was in cosplay, I mean my friends made the costumes and I wore them. Right? Like it wasn't like a thing that like I got to really be part of cosplay, which is why I'm glad you're here to explain things, because there's a lot that I don't know. But I remember one of the things that they tell you, right? Like my friends at the time would tell me is like, make sure that you're really hydrating throughout the day, because especially like since a lot of cons are like in the summer, it gets really hot, right? Like you
even heard me say like, Marin, you need to hydrate. Like you need to hydrate. Like when she was we saw her sweating. I was like, oh girl, you need to hydrate.
Well, because the thing is like,
hydrate.
Gojo is running on like almost no sleep, so I understand him like getting kind of tired and like the heat kind of getting to him a bit. But with Marin, it's like she's not only is she like posing like directly under the sun, right? She's like standing the entire time. She's sweating buckets because it's hot, and she's wearing all black.
She's wearing all black, and he chose thicker materials for her. Like he literally says, like, I chose thick materials.
Yeah, so it's all like thick material, all black. All I could think of was that song where it's like my back's aching, my bra too tight, like that one song. All I could think of was that, because I'm like, she's wearing like a double push-up bra. Her wig is black. Her outfit is all black. She has a chain that's heavy material. She's been standing that entire time, and she ran over to Gojo. Like, she must be Like by that point, I'm shocked she didn't pass out.
Yeah, like even like to put it in perspective, there was one summer I was cosplaying with a group. We were cosplaying for Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. I was cosplaying Lakoa, and I was fucking dying in that heat, and I was in tank top and shorts.
So you can imagine like what Mara's going through. In that moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the hottest I've ever been in cosplay was I cosplayed Volume 4 Yang. Not Volume 4. Like when she gets her new outfit, not the I don't give a fuck one.
Yeah.
But the one after that. And I cosplayed that at Anime Expo during one of the hottest summers that an Anime Expo had ever had. And like it was upwards of over 100 degrees, which would be like over 40 Celsius for you, I think.
Wow.
Like 42, I think.
That's
I want to
say. That's very very hot.
And now, like I was wearing black pants. I was wearing like a shirt, like a very like built shirt. I had the long hair, and I had gloves, and I had like the prosthetic arm, and then I had like the gauntlet, like the Ember Celica on the other one, and I was wearing boots, and I was dressed for like fall, and it like fall, like 70 degrees, maybe like 60 to 70, and I was in over 100 degree weather, and I remember just fucking sweating balls. Like I was so hot, and not in a good way. Like I was like, I need water.
Well, yeah, like bad. Well, and I appreciate that the show goes out of its way to be like, there's actually like a lot of situations where like it's a very accurate show from what I'm gathering, right? Like because again, like I only can attest to like the heat stroke thing. I've gotten heat stroke at a con once at Anime North. I ended up getting like really bad heat stroke. Now thankfully I did have people who I think I told you this story, but I don't think I'd said this in a video before, that I passed out on the grass of like this con. And when I woke up, there was a bunch of Digimon characters surrounding me, asking me if I was okay, and it was very jarring.
I bet that was very jarring.
I was like, did I get isekai'd? Am I in the digital world? Right? And I looked around. I'm like, oh, where are my friends? And they're like, I don't know. You were just here on your own.
Another fun fact, though, about for people who don't know about cosplay, like in Japan, that I think is very interesting. It's a very interesting thing. So a lot of times when you go to a con, you dress up and then you go, right? Yes. You get into cosplay and you go to the con. Well, in Japan, you actually bring your stuff with you. You notice, like, at the very end, Gojo had, like, a suitcase?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because that's where the cosplay was. Because a lot of times what you do is you bring your cosplay with you to the con, and then they have special changing booths that you change in and you get ready in. And then you go to the event.
I think that's really cool.
Never, ever travel in your cosplay.
I think that's cool.
It's so that way you don't just draw attention to yourselves, because like Japanese culture is very polite,
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas like in the U.S. and the States and maybe Canada too, you get on the fucking train to like.
Oh yeah, you get on the bus. Yeah, nobody gives a shit.
To the train to go to a con, and you're sitting there in full ass cosplay, looking like Gilgamesh. But the real thing, the real golden highlight of this episode, that were not the boobs.
Because those were on those were on point as with every episode, because Cloverwork loves her opai.
The boob bags were on point.
Yes.
Was the fact that Gojo fell asleep, and while falling asleep, he said that Marin was beautiful. So when we saw it, I was like, oh, that's really sweet, but you like gasped. I fucking lost my shit.
Yeah, you gasped and started crying, and I was like, what is happening? Because like to me, I'm like, oh, that's really sweet, and then I heard you went, oh no, I'm getting emotional, and I was like, huh? And then I remembered like milliseconds before they did the flashback that I was like, oh, that's right. Like he doesn't call anything beautiful unless it's very special to him, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that he called her specifically beautiful, like, and she remembered too. Marin remembers that conversation and is like, wait, what did you just say to me? Right? Like, and her face is shocked, right? Like, she's like, what the hell did he just say? right? Like, she's completely floored by that. I thought that whole thing was super, super
I
cute.
was sobbing. I was sitting there sobbing. I was like, that is so fucking cute. That is so, I was like, yes, my ship. I'm crying. Like,
Yeah.
this is so good. Like, you want to talk, like, I don't give a shit about all the fan service. The fan service for me is moments like that.
That's your fan service.
That makes me emotionally horny. I am horny with emotions. Not sexually, but with emotion.
I am horny. That needs to be on a t-shirt. It's just your face, then I am horny with emotions. But yeah, it was a great scene. Like, it was a really great scene. Like, because to me, it was like, because there was a moment where, like, we've already seen Marin sort of, like, look at Gojo when he smiled. I think this was, like, last week, when it was a genuine smile from him. It sort of made her heart stop for a second, right? Like, her heart, like, skipped a beat because she was so, like enthralled with that. And I think that's the moment where she realized, like, I have feelings for this guy, right? Yeah. But I think for him, it was that moment there, right? Yeah. Where, like, he sees her at the con and she turns and smiles. Because he was thinking that, like, oh, this is it, like, we're not going to hang out anymore, blah, blah, blah. But when she turns to look for him, when he's already thinking that she's not going to be around anymore, and she runs to him, I think that's the moment that he fell, right? And so when he says that, that's him subconsciously realizing it, right? Because, again, he's, like, passing out when he says it, so I don't think he's even aware that he said it.
Not to mention, she was already started talking about the next cosplay, right?
Yeah.
And, like, that gave him a sense of relief to the point where he just could pass out.
Yeah.
And so
he
once
finally
he did...
slept. Yeah.
What?
Because he didn't sleep that whole time.
And on the 7th day, he rested.
And on the 7th day, Gojo rested. But yeah, that was I loved that whole bit. Because to me, it was... I loved it because the way that, like, he says it, like, because usually I can't stand when a character, like, confesses something, and that okay, as much as I love this show, there's a lovely complex scene that I think of that it makes me want to fucking strangle the creator's neck, because I'm like, you did that on purpose, right? Where it's
is it the scene where like Otani is sick and then he, like, kisses her and passes out?
Okay, I was gonna say spoilers, but, like, yeah, the show's very old.
The show's old.
Yeah,
anyway.
The show's very old. Yeah, when he kisses her and passes out, and I was like, oh my god! And then he's like, I don't remember that. It's like, what do you mean you don't remember that? Because, like, that is big, right? But at the same time, like, it's moments like that make me go, like, I at least can understand, right? Because, like, with Otani, I remember being like, I could kill you, right? But at the same time, I'm like, I at least kind of understand how he could not remember that. Yeah. Right? Because he was super sick, and with Gojo, he's not only, like, probably sick, right? Like, probably had a little bit of heat stroke. Not as bad as Marin, but probably did have heat stroke. And hadn't slept at all.
Well, right? He's probably, like, he was getting to that point. You know when you, like, you stay up too late, like, for a long time and you get loopy? Like, that's probably, like, where he was at. He's like, I'm a little loopy and I'm gonna pass the fuck out right now.
So him saying it as he's sleeping, I buy that. Right, where I'm like, he would say that and not remember. So if he doesn't remember next week, I'm not mad, because it's like, I buy that. Like, I
buy that because also, not to mention, he had, like, stayed up, like, all the night, like, beforehand, and then like all this other, like, he's been awake and he's been stressed out. Like, for him to just pass out from relief. Yeah, it's understandable.
Yeah, but Marin will remember this. But yeah, Marin will remember that. And that makes me happy, because I like that she knows that she is special to him. Like, that she knows that, right? That makes me happy. I don't think Gojo is going to realize how important he is to her for a little bit.
No, you know, he barely could stand in the cosplay event without being like, there's so many girls everywhere. I am out of place.
Yeah, like, he felt bad. And I'm like, Gojo, first of all, you a handsome boy. I don't want to hear you think that you're not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're a handsome young man, right? Like, but that's my son right there. I look at him with pride, right? I'm like, he makes me proud, right? Mostly because I see a little bit of myself in him. But, like, but he's a nice looking dude and he's a sweet boy. So I'm like, what do you mean you don't belong here? Anybody who speaks to you would be, like, very happy to talk to you. You know what I mean?
No
like,
one's judging you. Yeah, like, this
when
is
he thought that they were judging him. Yeah, I was like, they're not judging you. What are they judging you on? Right? Like,
what?
The reason why people were looking is because they're really impressed with the outfit you made, and they think Marin looks great in it. Like, that's why they're looking at you too, right? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I do think that we're probably pretty likely to see the other two next week or the week after, because we're getting pretty far in.
Because we're already halfway through now. Like next
Yeah.
week's gonna be the halfway point because there's 12 episodes, I think.
12, yeah.
And like we've already had like hints of the other two, because like when Modern was like talking about like, look at these cosplayers and how cool they are, blah blah blah. Like when the woman who cosplays a dude, yeah. And then the other one, like, she cosplays anything from beautiful girls to shoujo boys, right? Like magical girls and young boys and stuff like that. Like
that's the thing that I'm curious about. Is Marin going to crossplay at some point?
I want to see her crossplay.
I really want to see Marin crossplay.
I want Gojo to question his sexuality.
I also want that. Like, I want Gojo to be like this does things for me. Like,
no, I'm not gonna lie though. Like when I crossplay, you know, like I think it's always funny making people question their sexuality.
Like that doesn't work on me. Because I'm already bi boy, so
fucking damn it.
Yeah,
No.
I'm already bi boy. That doesn't affect me. By ace boy.
How dare you? How could you have done this?
Can't believe you've done this. Any last thoughts?
Can't believe you've done this. No, I don't have thoughts, none whatsoever. Not a single thought in my brain.
Head empty, no thoughts.
I'm gonna go cough.
Go. What do we call them?
Only what?
Kita Gojo. What was their ship name?
Yeah, Gojo.
Yeah, Kita Gojo. Head empty. Only Kita Gojo.
Yeah.
No thoughts. Just Kita Gojo.
Yeah. So I think that's it, folks. That's it. I'm gonna go cough and die.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye. And there you have it, everybody. That is going to wrap it up for today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to boop that up snoot, share if you care, leave a comment down below, and of course, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and set notifications to all. Let all of AnyTube know that you are here. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and check out our Discord so that you can actually be notified when new videos go up. And of course, you'll also be notified when we're streaming over on the other website that starts with a T. On top of being the best way to get notified for new videos, it's also a good place to discuss with fellow anime fans and stuff like that. So if that sounds cool to you, go ahead and join us over on the Discord, link down in the description. Also linked to the description is our Patreon page, and that, along with the join button right beside the sub button, are great ways to help keep this channel afloat. You will find our Patreon page for as little as $1. You can help keep this channel running. And of course, a big thank you I have to give to our masters of masters, the true legends: Asaki VT, Elizabeth Just Elizabeth, JCran23, Jeremy P, Matt87 Eagle, Shadow Creative, Shiorins, Stephen G, Stevie W, Trapmaster, Trevor W, and Tristan G. Thank you all so much for being so freaking cool. I really love and appreciate all of you guys for your tremendous support of this channel. And if you too would like to have your name shouted out at the end of videos, once again, go check out that Patreon link in the description or hit the join button right beside the sub button. Either way helps out a ton. And that's it for me. So until next time, clean your room. Just trust me, a clean room is a clean mind. Maybe do some Tai Chi. Maybe drink lots of water and brush your teeth. And yeah, have a good day. Bye.